It is the King of Kings who makes kings and put kings on the throne. You better remember that, because there are many of you who are in place, in positions, sitting as leaders who are allowing people to worship you. You are allowing people to fight over you and who said what first and who did what first, or who is copying and repeating after what somebody else has said. However you want to put it, it's the same thing. But you allow for people to put you on a pedestal and in a higher place than you belong, because you are not God. First of all, you are responsible to make sure that people who may not know no better don't worship you and put you on a pedestal and put you in a place, because you are put into position by the King of Kings. As a king, you put yourself in a place where you represent yourself, or allow yourself to be represented as the king, by allowing people to exalt you and worship you. Or queen, because there are some of you too, females, who allow people to bicker and argue over who said what first, when it is God who gives the word, and he gives it to whosoever he will. And if the truth be told, he already gave it to somebody who don't have a bigger platform, or don't have a platform at all, before he gave it to you. Because God speaks to whosoever he will, even though he does nothing in the earth unless he first reveals it to his servants, the prophets, not just one prophet. And that's where we get it twisted, because we allow the world to come in and bicker and argue and bring confusion in between what we know better. And instead of you making it public and saying, you don't worship me, you worship God. This is not my gift. This gift is loaned to me. God gave me the gift, but God is the giver of the gift. And what he gave me, he gave to somebody else. All this bickering and arguing and friction that is coming between the body, because we won't get on these platforms that we have built, or that God have allowed to be built. You have all of these followers, and then you never come on and correct the followers and say to the followers, don't exalt me. Don't put me on a pedestal, because this is all about the king. If Jesus be lifted up, he'll draw all men unto him. Don't lift me up. You better remember Acts 13, where Herod is sitting and the people are calling him, he's a god, and things of that nature. And you're allowing and absorbing and sucking all of this information in, knowing the truth. God is not going to hold the people accountable. He didn't hold the people responsible for what Herod knew, because Herod knew that he was not the King of Kings, but he allowed the people to put him into a position as they praised him, and he absorbed and took in and soaked up everything that the people said without correcting the people. And so do you. Every time you allow people to put you on a pedestal, put you in the place of God, and bicker and argue about what belongs to God and who you are and who said it first and who's copying who. This is all about God. And the people you lead, they should be drawing people to God, not to you. And you should be big, bad, and bold enough to come on a platform and let these same people know, I am not God. I am not going to be pulled down and destroyed because you want to glorify me instead of glorifying God. And we really have to check that thing, because when people want to exalt us, it means we aren't doing our job at exalting God. Because when we talk about God, when we talk about who Jesus is and what Jesus has done, people not bickering and arguing over us. They're being equipped to follow Christ and to do what God has placed in them to do. Not staying focused and stuck on us and continually coming back to us. because it's not about us. It's never about us. It has never been about us, and it will never be about us, no matter how big, bad, and grand your platform may be. And you knew you was going to come to this, because there is not one of us who is called to do anything great in fivefold ministry that God did not prepare you for this day. He did not prepare you and tell you not to touch his glory. There is not one of us who cannot say that we did not have a glimpse of being in a high place, and God said to you, don't touch my glory. And if you've never had that experience, I doubt if you're really called from God, because God is going to put you in a situation where he's going to show you in arenas. He's going to show you in different platforms. He's going to show you being exalted. He's going to show you all of these things. But you better draw them people right back to him and let them know this is not me. Don't do this. You better do like Paul and was it Silas or Barnabas, when the people were calling them Mercury and Jupiter. Oh no, they rent their clothes. Don't do this. We are not God. You better learn how to use your platform that God built to be a voice and say, don't exalt me. This came from God. It's not about me. Don't bicker over me. Don't fight over me. Don't argue over me. If you're going to do anything, get together and fight against the enemy and war against the devil and protect me in prayer. Don't get on a platform and fight with other saints about me being the biggest, the baddest, the greatest, and the first, when we can all come together and tear down Satan's kingdom, because that's what it's all about. If you're not doing that, then you need to question why you were in position in your platform, because you are drawing the people to you and not to Christ. Herod was knocked off of his throne. And I think the scripture says something about him being eaten by maggots. You got maggots in you? Are you sitting in a place where you're allowing people and you feel good about what people are saying and putting you above God, as if you're the only one that God can speak to? And even if they're not putting you above God, anytime they are bickering and arguing about what you said first over somebody else, when there's somebody else who just didn't get the chance to say what you said before you said it, because God can use whoever he wants, you really got to check your own motives when you allow people to even argue over you. No matter how high you rise, the harder you fall when you touch what belongs to God. You know the scripture. Correct these people and stop letting them bow down and worship you and fight other people about you being the biggest, the baddest, the greatest, when you are nothing without Christ. You only see what you see, hear what you hear, know what you know, because of the gift that God gave you. But God also has blockers if you're not paying attention. He can blind you and knock you right off the mule, the beast that you were sitting on, even before you make it to the throne. Have a blessed and prosperous day.